So previously I had demonstrated the two-port, or two-computer I should say, KVM switch working with the Intellikeys. This is a $20 unit, hooks up to two computers, and it has the 4 USB in the front. So keyboard, mouse, plus you could do joysticks and USB memory sticks and whatnot, and it has the physical switch. Well, we knew that we want something that will do 4 machines at once. So I stepped up and I got this a little bit more expensive. This one is about $80 on Amazon. It is a 4-computer switch, KVM switch. And the other benefit is that this is USB 3, which is kind of nice. Useless for keyboard and mouse, but maybe for memory sticks. What I found with this one, first off, it does work with the Intellikeys RP2040 adapter, so that is the overall good news with it. It does not have audio built in, but it does switch over fine. It's got the 4 ports in the front, and then this one has 4 separate buttons for triggering the different computers. So what's the primary difference I found? Well, first off, this one requires external power. So it comes with a power pack that you're going to have to plug in. And it does have a power on-off switch on the front. So this other, the other smaller one is powered by the computer's USB. So this one requires power. That's not a big deal. It connects in a similar way, whereas the other one used the USB, what is that, B, or the old printer sort of cable that goes to hubs. This one uses a C2C Type A cable on both ends. So a similar hookup, HDMI for the video. And then on the front, I plugged in my Intellikeys into here, and it worked fine. So I had it hooked up. I just had it hooked up to 2 machines, but there's no reason why it wouldn't work otherwise. I had it hooked up to PC1 and PC4. What I found in the difference with this one is this one, when you switch it, it powers down the front USB connections during the switching, which can be either good or bad. The good thing is that resets all the devices. The bad thing is that it resets all the devices. So what happens with the Intellekey adapter, every time you switch, it powers down the Intellekey adapter, so it has to go through its boot and its startup sequence. Now that sequence is pretty fast. In fact, it's about the same speed as it takes this box to switch the video. So by the time this box has switched the video, which is a second or two, the Intellikeys has rebooted. Powering it off and on constantly, switching didn't seem to cause any problems, but it's different than this other brand that I got. This one keeps these USB ports hot all the time, so they're always powered up. So the cheaper $20 one actually switches faster than the more expensive one. But again, we aren't talking about like 10 seconds. We're talking about 2 to 3 seconds between switches. So that's that. It still doesn't do audio, but it does work. So we do know we have another brand that works. The other interesting thing with this one that I like is this strange USB-C select port on the front. Now, do not be fooled. This is not really USB-C. This is for a tiny little remote that they include, a wired remote that allows you just plug it in there, and then you trigger 1, 2, 3, or 4. So you could use this as an option instead of the front panel. That I think is neat. And it's very small, so you could Velcro it or tape it or super glue it to your keyboard, and it really won't get in the way. Now, the bad side of that is that the buttons are very small, and they are close together. So I do not have large hands, and these are pretty close together. on the good news from an adaptability standpoint is I did what I always do is I took it apart, right? So this is where I discovered that it's really not USB-C. This is something that you're going to see a lot in these devices. You'll see them overloading these different connectors. You'll see HDMI connectors being used for keyboards. You'll see USB jacks being used for non-USB things. It's pretty crazy. It's clever and it's annoying at the same time. Clonoying, maybe I'll coin that new term. But anyhow, back to this. Took this apart. It's got 4 tiny tactile cheapo switches, single-sided printed circuit board, hand soldered joints. Got 5 wires there. So I took out my handy dandy El Cheapo multimeter and did the continuity test on this to see. I mean, there's no USB chip on here, so I knew that they were probably just hardwiring it. There are a couple of LEDs. I don't even know if those are used. They don't seem to be connected. Anyhow, I used the multimeter. I used the continuity tester to test out each of the wires. And lo and behold, it is very straightforward. One wire, which happens to be blue, is the common ground for everything. The other 4 wires, the black, the green, the white, and the red, are each tied individually to either 1, 2, 3, or 4. Why do I think this is good? Because I could unsolder this cable, and if we wanted to make some sort of custom button, a custom 4 button that is more amenable to your situation, we could do it. So that's kind of a neat thing, and then I wouldn't even have to go into this box to do that. So that's neat. The other benefit, and I know I was ragging on them for about the USB-C and not really being C, but one of the benefits of this is that things like extension cables are cheap and easily available. So if the little cable that they came with it isn't long enough, you could buy a extension cable, and in theory it should work. I haven't tested it, but that's what I'm thinking. So this is an opportunity. I know this one works. We're still waiting on the original KVM to come in so I could test it out and see what's up with it. But this one's an option. I was also thinking about the audio thing. Now, the least expensive audio version of something like this I saw was in about the $220, $250 range, which I don't have the budget for to test on. But that is an option. The other kind of workaround option is that you keep your existing KVM and you use it for switching audio, and you use this one for the video and the keyboard mouse. A little hokey, I admit, but at least that one switches audio cleanly, so you could use that to switch audio and use this one to switch the other stuff. So that was my thought on that if we wanted to save a little bit of money. So there is where we're at. So we've got at least 2 different KVMs, one this $20 2-way version and one this $80 4-way version, both of which work with the Intellikeys, which is always nice to see.